So yesterday, Bioware released a 20-minute uncut gameplay demo video, which gave us a lot more information on the new Anthem game. Now, they should have done this at E3. This video was so good, and I love the fact that it was uncut. So this video is going to be a breakdown of that video, just general first impressions, what I thought of it. So I'm going to be talking over the video footage as it shows, but let's kick this off anyway. So the first thing here that I really like is we actually get to see our crew in a lot more detail. So here we've got Faye. This is Halleck, who's our mechanic. I love here that we're seeing the facial animations. I love that we're seeing the banter between our characters. Obviously, this is Owen here, who's our Cypher. But this is what I wanted to see at E3. I wanted to see our actual crew. I wanted to see them interact. Facial animations look so much better than Andromeda, and yeah, I love this little opening number. It gives us a flavour of the characters, gets us interested in them, and obviously what's interesting is we're seeing it in first person. So this is in the Strider. Now in the video, Ben Irving, who is one of the lead producers on the game, actually talked about what you can do in your Strider. One of the things obviously is you can choose your javelin. You can actually equip it with gear, weapons, abilities, customize your appearance. Now, right on here, we're seeing the actual matchmaking and how that's going to play. So you can obviously look for your friends, create a up to 4-player team. And we got to see a lot of the map here. So we can see here that the map is full of icons. We've got look like little bridges. Maybe those are strongholds. Obviously, this is a main story campaign that we're doing. But we're actually seeing here how matchmaking is going to work. It feels really weird to see matchmaking in a Bioware game. It feels so strange to see it. But it looks pretty smooth, pretty simple to actually get it, to actually do it and get it kicked off. But they have said that Anthem is going to be a social co-op action RPG. So they're not saying that this is going to be an open world shooter. They are focusing on that action RPG element. But yeah. So this is obviously the Colossus. And yeah, they do talk about how these javelins that you get, they're passed down into generations, into family. Now, what I like here that they're showcasing very clearly is we've got 2 Colossus here, but as you can see here on the back, they have very different weapons, very different equipment on them. So that means that you can obviously customize your javelin so that it's unique. Obviously, we've got a ranger. It looks great. The gameplay looks beautiful. The world looks so interesting. Obviously, we've got confirmation there that we've got emotes, so that's going to be a thing. I hope, I don't know, are they going to have dancing colossuses? Well, I guess we'll have to see. But yeah, so now we're going to actually go into some of the gameplay and actually see it. I love the animals in the world. I love the fact that we're going to have wildlife. I like the little touches like that. Obviously, we're seeing some of the fly mechanics here. If you go, your jetpack can overheat. So if you do fly through waterfalls, it will cool it down, which is interesting to see. Owen is our cipher and guide for the mission and will provide valuable intel. Now, we did see here, we've seen this gameplay before, but obviously this is completely uncut, and there are some new segments of gameplay towards the back end of the video. It's really interesting to see. What we can see here, though, is when we're killing enemies, they are dropping. So we see there, we saw a little purple drop. I think that's probably some kind of, here we go, some kind of weapon. Yeah, so we got an epic weapon there. So there are going to be weapon drops, a little bit like engrams that we got in Destiny. So that is confirmed. We can see that in the game. We've got a gold drop there. Perhaps that might be a legendary piece of weapon or equipment. What's quite interesting in this video footage is we get to see pretty much the whole section as the Colossus, whereas before, obviously, it was very cut between the Ranger, the Colossus, the Storm. So we get to actually see what it's going to be like to play as a Colossus. And one of the major things that's coming off of this gameplay is the pure firepower of the Colossus. And it's just a tank, you know, it's a tank of a class. So, but yeah, So we get to see here, so we can see the bar at the bottom is filling. Now what's interesting here is if you go into a nosedive, it looks like this cools it down. Perhaps it's something to do with the wind that's blowing onto the jetpack, that's cooling off the jets and the engine. So that's one way for you to cool that down as well. But the world just looks gorgeous, you know, these leaves and everything, and it does look impressive. And what I will do, obviously, guys, is I will put a link to the full gameplay in the description below, so that if you want to watch this footage without me sort of breaking it down and reacting to it, then of course you can go ahead and do that. Now what they talked about at this section was how they brought a fourth character in, the Storm, which was played by a person called Catherine, a girl called Catherine, and she's level 1, and these characters are level 30, so you can play with your friends even if your level difference is very different. I don't know how that's going to play in terms of the amount of damage that they're going to do, or the kind of loot that they get. Perhaps it will influence the kind of loot that you do get from it. Maybe that's what we'll see. But I like the fact that there aren't any sort of level caps. So we can see in here there's an underwater section that we can see now. If you see the bar at the bottom here, this definitely looks like a breathing bar. So it looks like you cannot go underwater infinitely, that you are limited in terms of, you know, your air will run out. Perhaps your suit will start to take on water. Perhaps it'll start to leak. Yeah, that means that there might be long stretches of underwater sections, perhaps. I mean, that's the only reason I can think they would have a bar. Otherwise, if it was just transitions between levels, they wouldn't bother to put that feature in. So here we're in a stronghold, a Scar stronghold. And strongholds are a 4-player mode that give greater rewards by taking on greater challenges. It just looks so atmospheric and really cool. You'll have access to it from your map at the start of any expedition. So this is a stronghold now. As he says there, it is a 4-player. It's kind of like endgame content, like a raid. We're going to get to see here the Colossus using their shields. Obviously, as the tank character now, it looks like the shield there does take damage, so it isn't an invulnerable kind of defense. It will take damage and perhaps get destroyed over time, but it means that you can provide that shield, that protection to your crew. Using certain abilities together allows you to combo for extra effects like bonus damage. I feel a little bad for making fun of Catherine earlier, so let's see if we can have her set up a combo up ahead. So we're going to get to see a combo here. Now, I love that lightning effect in the water. And then obviously the Colossus there is using, I think they were using the railgun combined with the lightning storm to give that combo effect. Now, one of the things, a lot of people were complaining about all these numbers popping up on the screen. Bioware have turned around. They have confirmed that this is going to be something that you can turn off, that you can reduce in the main game if you don't want all that information to be bombarded at you all the time. But yeah.
There's a shaper relic. Wait, something's odd. Get a closer look, would you?
Night has fallen in the world of Anthem, and the creatures that inhabit the darkness are out on the prowl. But honestly, that's a story for another day, because right now we have that giant thing to deal with.
So this is a huge shaper relic, and your goal, I guess, is to try to turn these off. These create huge storms. They're kind of dangerous, and in this gameplay footage we got to see that you have to collect you actually have to collect echoes, 6 of them I think, to actually shut down the relic. But they're sort of showing here the cooperative nature of it, and that you can obviously play and flank together and work together with your combos. But I love the verticality of it. I love the level designs. I will say that the gameplay does look very impressive. You know, it looks really good. So that was our railgun. That's one of the that's one of the echoes that we've just picked up there. We can see that on our back, and now we can see here on the ground there's a health drop and an ammo drop as well. So the way for you to heal your javelin is by picking up these health drops. Obviously your ammo is not infinite, so you will run out of ammo, and obviously you'll have to pick these up as well. So let's talk a little bit about the weapons and a little bit about the abilities that we can see here in this gameplay. It looks very Mass Effect, you know, in the way that they've set it up. So you've got your two weapons. Now, obviously, the weapons you can use are dependent on the class that you're playing as. Obviously, as the Colossus, this Colossus here seems to have a... Okay, so that was one of the abilities, which is the mortar, which created a combo with the freeze grenade. It's stuff like this for me that really makes me look at Anthem, and it just looks like a lot more fun than Destiny is. I love the fact that you can work cooperatively and, you know, create combos between you and your teammates. Of course, you know, there is cooperative play in Destiny in terms of flanking, but it's that ability to combo your moves and your powers that I really enjoy. And Bioware are really good at creating cooperative gameplay moments, particularly in the multiplayer in Mass Effect 3 and also to a degree in Andromeda. So I think, you know, the cooperative play in Anthem is going to be really good, and you know, combining your different javelins, combining your different powers is going to be something that really makes it stand out. You know, it's not just about sort of flanking and shooting with your gun and then maybe occasionally using your superpower. So I really like that. So I was talking a little bit about the weapons. Now the Colossus here has a, if we look on the right hand side, they have updated the way that we see this information. I think in the first gameplay footage that we got back last year, it was in the middle of the screen at the bottom. I like the fact that they've moved it to the right hand side. Clearly top left we've got the health bar here. On the right hand side here we can see the two... Right, okay, it's got rid of that, which is kind of annoying. Oh, brilliant. When it comes back up, we'll obviously talk about it in a little bit more information.
But for right now, the mystery of the Scar weapon is taking us deeper and deeper into this stronghold.
Okay, so we can see here we've got two weapons equipped. We've got the machine gun, which is currently equipped here, and also above that is the grenade launcher. Now the other Colossus here also has a flamethrower. We have three kind of mapped abilities. We've got here, which is the mortar, which is mapped to LB, the railgun, which is mapped to RB, and we also have a melee attack, which is mapped to the Y button. We also appear to have a superpower ability, which is mapped to LB and RB. We will see all of these when we actually have a look at the major sort of boss fight at the end of this level. But this is a Bioware game, guys, and no Bioware game would be complete without spiders. So this section of the gameplay just reminded me of Dragon Age Origins, and it just kind of gave me that nostalgic feeling. I hate spiders, so yeah, it should be quite interesting, this part for me. But we can see in here that it is giving you an indication of where you're sort of being damaged there, which is you know, is interesting. And just like Andromeda, we have the we don't have a minimap. Instead we have the kind of directional bar, which gives us sort of information on the mission, you know, which direction the mission is. Also we have enemies that are popping up on here as well with little red and yellow bars.
Let's show off some different weapons up ahead. Let's have Scylla in front with his flamethrower and have you support him with your grenade.
So again, we're going to see some more combos in this gameplay. So we've got the other Colossus here using the flamethrower. Super effective weapon against sort of more organic monsters, eggs, spiders. And we're using our grenade launcher here to provide some support. So I just like this cooperative nature of the gameplay. The gameplay for me in Anthem, it looks good. It looks polished. The fact that they're showing this uncut footage as well, it really gives you a feel of what the game is going to be like, how it's going to play. And I've got to say, having seen this 20-minute footage, you know, Dante and I sat down and we watched it last night together. And, you know, we looked at it and we were like, you know, this looks good. The gameplay looks fun. The cooperative nature of it looks really fun, looks really interesting. I like the fact that we got to see our crew at the beginning, so we know it's a Bioware game. So Bioware are known for good story, good characters, and I hope, you know, if it has that along with the gameplay, it could be, you know, a very good game. But yeah, so you know, it looks good, and I don't know why they didn't show this video at E3. I think this video would have been a really good thing for them to show. Now, this is a really interesting thing here that we got to see in the footage. This is a collectible in the world. It's actually called an Arcanist Resonance, which is a ruin. So there are going to be lore and items and materials that you can collect and discover in the world. They're kind of like a codec-like system. So I like the fact that you're going to be able to uncover more lore in the world by exploring, by picking up these kind of runes and relics.
Loot comes in many different rarities, and legendary items are very hard to come by. If you get your hands on one, they have special bonuses that make you more powerful. And I have a feeling our squad's going to need all the power they can get for what lies ahead.
Now this bit is what I was really interesting to see here, which is we're going to very shortly see one of the boss fights at the end of a stronghold. Now, stronghold have to be a 4-player. It's too difficult to play by yourself. There will be parts of the game you can play solo, but for this you need to play 4-player, and obviously it increases the level of challenge, but it also increases the level of reward that you will get. And this thing is freaking huge. So this is a swarm tyrant, which is one of the bosses that we're going to get to face. Looks really interesting.
And then we have the Swarm Tyrant herself. Now the Swarm Tyrant has 3 big sacks on her back, and they're her weak points. Our squad has to focus on the weak points to cause massive bonus damage.
So obviously each boss is going to have weaknesses. They're also going to have minions, because no Bioware boss ever fights alone. The dragons used to call little dragons, and big spiders called smaller spiders. So we got to see the mortar attack there. Now obviously it looks like these bosses are going to be really challenging just looking at this. What really blew me away here is how little the health bar of that tyrant has gone down. It's a bleeding bullet sponge, and I think it's good that they are challenging, and it looks like, you know, each of the boss fights we're going to have to face, you know, and fight in a team of 4. They're going to take a lot of time, coordination, focusing on weak points. I'm pretty sure as well they're going to have waves and changing their attacks and their moves and that kind of thing, and the aggression. So it's obviously diving away here, and pretty soon I think it's going to run away, and then we get a wave of little smaller spiders that we have to take down. But this gameplay, I mean, this 20-minute video looks really, really good. You know, we got to see a lot more of the Colossus mainly, and the different abilities, the way cooperative play is gonna work. It just gave us a better feel for the game and how the game is gonna play. And I've got to say, if Bioware had showed this, you know, at E3, I think a lot more people would have been like, okay, this looks good. Still, you know, the story is a little bit of a mystery. We know basic about the lore in the world, and it sounds interesting. I hope the next video that we'll actually see by Bioware will be focusing on Fort Tarsus and actually showing us how that is going to work, that private story, how that's going to play in and how that's going to work. Because I think that element is still a little confusing for Bioware fans, but yeah, definitely the gameplay and the shared world looks fun. You know, it looks really, really good, and obviously we got to see that. I love the fact that you can set it on fire, and so this was an epic bit, which is the superpower ability of the Colossus, which is a frigging nuke. How awesome is that? That is totally friggin' insane. The explosion that comes off of this thing is mental. But that was a 20-minute video by Bioware. These are my general impressions on it, what I thought of it. Really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great week. Take care. And as always, happy gaming. Bye, guys.
For more information, go to anthemgame.com.